All right, we are live. So today's class is about embodying the fluidity of a liquid. So when you think about it, when we come to our mats and we start to do different resets and we establish our neutral pelvis, our neutral spine, our neutral neck, and we want to move in better movement patterns, not just on our yoga mat, but throughout our day, sometimes that can feel mechanical as we're trying to get in the right mindset and really focus our efforts on doing things in an optimal movement pattern. But as we start to do that time and time again, our bodies become more accustomed to the new movement patterns, the better movement patterns. We want to start to make it feel more smooth and more natural. So in the movements today, we'll kind of check in with, can we move and still keep all of those qualities with an integrated core and using the right muscles in certain movement patterns, but can we do it in a way that feels a little bit more natural and smooth in our bodies? So we will get started as usual on our backs. And you have an option here. So you can either start with the soles of the feet on the floor and allowing your hips to just stay on the floor, or you can do all of these next movements in a low bridge. So you can press into the feet, lift the glutes up off the floor, feel the tailbone slightly tucking just enough so that it lengthens the low back area. So if you're up or down, we'll just start to march the legs one at a time. You can bring the palms of the hands down onto the floor and you'll just march the legs, finding movement within the hip, alternating one at a time. And even as we move here, we maintain our structure, we keep the length in the low back, maintain that neutral pelvis, but we're adding in a layer of movement. Can you do that without making it feel stiff? And again, you can also keep your hips on the floor, glutes on the floor, and just one at a time, march the knees in towards the chest. Keep going with that. And after this next one, hold the right leg in towards the chest, cross the right ankle over the left knee and open up the right leg, coming into a figure four. Again, you can stay off with the hips lifted off the floor in a one-legged bridge, or you can keep the hips lowered down to the floor and just feel the stretch to start the class. Wherever you're at, reach both hands up towards the ceiling and pull back on the fingertips of the right hand, stretching out the right wrist. And you can keep stretching that right wrist as you uncross the right ankle and switch to the other side. So left leg first draws in towards the chest, and then you cross the left knee, or I'm sorry, the left ankle over the left knee, coming into that figure four with the hips up or down, and then stretching out the left wrist by pulling back the fingertips on the left hand. Taking another big breath in. Exhale. Release the stretch of the wrist, uncross the left ankle, and slowly lower if your hips are lifted off the floor, coming back down. Pause here, and before we come into our set of abdominals, just feel the core engaged here. So feel the belly button drawing in towards the spine and the abs knit together like a spider web. So you have these webbing of the abdominals coming together towards midline and then back towards the floor. So you have some slight core engagement here. And then bring the hands interlaced behind the head, drawing the elbows up towards the ceiling, bending the knees and bringing them over the hips at a 90-degree angle. Keep some space in between your knee joints. So as if you had a block or a book or a pillow or something that you were holding in between your knees, and maintain that space as we go throughout this set of abdominals. Take a big breath in through the nose. Exhale, lift up off the shoulder blades. Press the back of the skull into the hands. Extend the right leg straight, the left knee stays bent. And then you'll turn the left thigh bone within the hip socket, coming into an internal rotation. So the left foot comes out towards the left, and you're turning the thigh towards that right leg. Come back to center, both knees bend, inhale and lower. Exhale, curl. The left leg extends. You're still imagining you have that block, that pillow, that book in between your kneecaps. And then you'll turn the right knee so that the right thigh internally rotates. The right foot goes slightly out towards the right. Come back to center, bend both knees, inhale and lower. Exhale, curl. The right leg straightens and you internally rotate that left thigh. Can you make it feel more smooth and more fluid-like? Come back to center, bend both knees, inhale and lower. Exhale, curl. Left leg straightens, right leg internally rotates. So when we move within the hip joint here in this right leg, we are actually bathing the synovial joint in that ball and socket joint of your hip with synovial fluid. Come back to center, bend both knees, inhale and lower. Exhale, curl. Right leg straightens, left leg internally rotates. Both knees come back over the hips and will stay up as the left leg straightens, right thigh internally rotates. You're still keeping space in between the knees. Come back to center, both legs bend, inhale and lower. One more just like that. Exhale, curl. Left leg straightens, right leg internally rotates. Come back through center, right leg straightens, left leg internally rotates. Come back to center, both knees over the hips, and release. You can bring both knees in towards the chest, bring the palms of the hands onto the kneecaps, and just gently rock side to side, giving the sacrum a nice little massage here. And then keep the right hand, or keep the right knee drawn in towards the chest. You can extend that left leg long on the mat, and we'll come into a spinal twist here. You'll bring the right knee into the left hand and allow it to come across the body, coming into that twist, and allowing the right arm to peel open towards the right. If your right shoulder feels compromised here, then you can bend that right elbow and allow the hand, the fingertips and the palm side of the hand to just come and rest on those right ribs. Coming back through center, both knees draw in towards the chest, and then keep the left knee drawn in as the right leg extends. The left leg comes into the right hand as you come into the twist. Bring the left leg across the body, the left arm comes out to the left, and you can keep it extended, or you can bend the left elbow and bring the fingertips and the palm of the left hand onto the left rib cage. So even as you move side to side through gentle movements like a spinal twist, can you make it fluid-like and smooth? Coming back onto your back. And as you're ready, making your way around, coming to quadruped. We'll come into dolphin here, bringing our forearms down to the floor. You can interlace the fingers or keep the palms face down. Allow the head to just drop towards the floor. Tuck the toes and lift the hips up off the mat, coming into your dolphin pose. And again, imagine that you've got that block, that book, that pillow in between your knees. So maintain that space. And then one at a time, we're just going to do some hamstring curls with the leg. So you'll bend the left knee, place it back down, and then the right. Nothing else is moving in the upper body. Just making smooth movements through the legs. We know that water or liquid, it can take the shape of whatever container it's in. It's basic chemistry, but the molecules themselves don't lose their structure. So that's what we want to do here. We maintain the structure in the upper part of the body, but we have smooth movement in the lower half. Come to stillness, and then both knees lower to the mat. Keep the elbows on the floor. You can bring the hands in a prayer position with the hands faced up towards the ceiling and sink the hips back, coming into a child's pose. The head can rest on the floor, the mat. And just take a breath here. We can kind of imagine the other qualities of water, that sometimes it's still and sometimes there's a lot more movement and a lot more action in the waves. So before we get flowing and moving in bigger waves, we'll just take a moment here to pause and breathe. And coming up through quadruped all fours and making your way to the front of your mat, coming to stand up nice and tall, finding your neutral spine and preparing to move in bigger ways. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. And as you exhale, hinge at the hips, bend the knees, forward fold. Step the right leg back, lower the right knee, top of the foot comes to the mat. Inhale, the arms lift up here. Draw the tailbone down, engage the core to draw the belly button back towards the spine. And we're going to alternate arm swings here. So you'll open that left arm out to the left, twisting towards the left. And then as you come back through center, the right arm comes to the back of the mat and opens towards the right. So just one at a time, swinging the arms, moving the rib cage side to side, hopefully keeping your balance as you do, keeping the structure below, but allowing freedom and movement in the upper body here. Then both hands will plant down, step back for plank. Lower both knees and lower all the way to the floor in one piece. Inhale, draw the chest forward through the arms, coming into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg steps forward, lower the left knee and top of the foot. Inhale, arms reach up, tailbone tucks down, and we'll do those arm swings again. There's also good movement for the thoracic spine, getting some rotation in there. Freeing up the rib cage. Hands plant down, step the back foot in, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Use the glutes to help extend the legs. Exhale, forward fold. Left foot steps back, lower the left knee, top of the foot. Same thing here, we'll come into some swings with the arms. Do you find a little bit more freedom on this second round? Maybe the movement doesn't have to be as mechanical. You can find that fluid-like property. Hands come down, step back for plank. Lower both knees, lower the rest of the body. Inhale, pull back for cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, lower the right knee, top of the foot. One more time like this, we swing the arms. Hands come plant down. Lean into the hands as you slide the back foot in. Forward fold with a nice long spine here. Inhale, rise to stand. Use your glutes to help you stand up. Exhale, forward fold. Right foot steps back, lower the right knee, and not the toes this time. This time, both arms reach up. Make a fist with your left hand. Make a fist with your right hand and bring that right hand to the top of the left glute here. Use that as a cue to tuck your tailbone down towards the floor and lift up more on the left side body. Hands come to the floor. Step back for plank. Lower both knees and lower all the way. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. The right foot steps forward, lower the left knee, top of the foot, or not, you can keep the toes tucked here. Both hands reach up, and then make a fist with the right hand, press it up towards that ceiling, make a fist with the left hand, and bring it to the sacrum, using that as a cue to draw the tailbone down. Keep the back of the neck nice and long. And then hands plant. Slide the back foot in as you forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, forward fold. Step the left leg back, lower the left knee, but not the toes. Arms lift up here. We'll take that the other way, so you'll keep that left hand or the left fist in the air. Bring the right fist to the top of the left glute, and then you can take a little side bend over towards the right, opening up the side seam of the body. Hands plant down, step back for plank, lower the knees, and lower all the way. Inhale for cobra, exhale, downward facing dog. As you do these sunsaw ones, can you find the fluidity? Step the left leg forward, lower the right knee, toes stay tucked, right fist comes up towards the sky, left fist comes onto the sacrum, and take a gentle side bend over to the left, open up the right side seam. Hands plant down, slide the back foot in, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, forward fold. Coming into sequence one, step back with the right leg. We're coming into a tilted crescent here. So you'll lift the fingertips up off the floor, bringing the arms back alongside the body. You still have a nice neutral spine here. Your neck is in line with the rest of that spine. Make a fist with the right hand and bring it alongside the right ear. And then bring that right hand down to the floor, coming into a twisted crescent. The left arm lifts up towards the ceiling. You lean back into the right shoulder blade. Both hands plant down, step back for plank, and like little tiny waves rocking back and forth, move forward and back on your toes. Make sure your shoulder blades are neutral on your spine, so you're not rounding the back here in cat, you're not sinking the chest and the belly towards the floor. Your core is engaged, your shoulder blades are sitting on the rib cage. Lower both knees or not, and lower all the way to the floor. We'll come into locust, bring the arms back alongside the hips. You can keep the palms face down. And as you inhale, reach everything up off the floor. Go for length over lift here. So try to reach the crown of the head farther away from the toes. And then still engage the core here. So you're trying to lift the belly up off the floor as well. That's going to help protect the low back. Release down to the floor. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. You can tuck the toes here. We're going to do a reverse push-up coming into a modified push-up position, aka our knees are down, and lower back towards the floor. Press into the hands, reverse push-up, and lower. We'll do that a couple times. Can you make the movement fluid and smooth even here when it's maybe a little bit more challenging, rather than just flopping down towards the floor and using brute force to get yourself back up? It's a nice, smooth movement. And just because you're on your knees doesn't mean it's easy. Last time, coming back into this modified push-up position, we'll tuck our toes here and just lift the knees up off the floor. So you're in this crouching position. You can walk the hands back a little bit just to get maybe a little bit more leverage and push into the hands. But what I want you to feel here is the angle of your ankle joint. So as we're pressing back into the heels are still lifted up off of the floor, but you're really pulling back on the toes to minimize the angle between your shin and the top of your foot. We tend to lose range of motion in our feet, so this is a good thing to do. And then walk the hands back towards the feet, sitting into your happy squat. And we'll baby bear walk our way to the front of the mat, coming to forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Step the left leg back. We're coming into that tilted crescent. Reach the belly away from the thigh. Still keep a nice neutral neck. Back of the neck is nice and long. We're not jutting our chin forward. We're not allowing our head to fall towards the floor. It's in line with the rest of the spine. Our belly's pulling in here as well. Make a fist with the left hand and bring it, the left arm alongside the left ear. Then bring the left hand towards the floor. Open up into that twisted crescent. Both hands plant, step back for plank, and we'll rock forward and back just a couple times. Again, you're getting some movement through the foot, getting some bounce there. And then you can lower the knees or not, and lower in one piece all the way to the floor. Hands come back alongside of you, lifting into locust. Belly pulls in towards the spine to help lengthen that low back, and lower to the floor. Hands come underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, and we'll come back into that reverse push-up, pressing into the hands, and you're in a modified push-up, and then lowering all the way. Press into the hands, lift up, and lower. Press into the hands, lift up, and lower. Keep the skull and the neck in line with the rest of the spine as you move here. It's really hard to do. Lower one more time. Press into the hands, lift up, then tuck the toes and come into that down dog crouch. Really working that ankle range of motion here. Walking the hands back towards the feet. Sitting into those heels, coming into your happy squat here. And let's interlace the hands behind the head. This time, allow the elbows to come towards the floor and just use that to get a sense of traction and a weight into your skull, just to find some length in the neck. Hands release to the floor, and then we will baby bear walk our way back to the front of the mat. Inhale, rise to stand. We'll do one sun sao A. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the hands, walk or jump back from plank. Find your fluidity, lower to the floor. Inhale for cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg straight back and up. We're coming right into our second sequence. Exhale, step the left foot forward. We're coming into a high crescent lunge. The arms can come straight up towards the ceiling. Put a bend in that back knee to help support the neutral pelvis that we worked so hard to establish in the beginning of class. And from here, we're going to do a kick with the back leg. So what we'll do is press the weight into the left foot and use that motion to pendulum swing the right leg forward. So you press into the left foot, rise to stand, right leg swings forward. You can use your arms. Can you make the movement smooth? Just as you step down with the right foot, you press into the left leg and swing back up. You don't have to go very high here. We don't want to sacrifice our movements and our form. Just want to make them a little bit less mechanical and herky-jerky. Come back into that high crescent lunge after the next one. Bring the hands into prayer in front of the heart. And we're going to come into a kind of Tai Chi-like move here. So what you'll do is you'll turn towards the right, open up to the side of your mat and kind of dip back towards a side lunge on the right leg and then come back to crescent in the front. So you'll turn towards the right and take a little bend in that right leg and then come back towards the front. Just make it smooth. Maybe you play around with that left leg straightening and the way that you move in and out of that crescent lunge to make it more smooth and to get some different stretches along the way. Last time, coming back to a crescent lunge facing the front of the mat, then windmill to the back of the mat. The left hand plants and we're coming into a side plank. The right arm reaches up. Right hand comes down, we come back into plank, lower the knees, and lower all the way. Goalpost the arms here. And as you inhale, lift up, coming into a locust with these goalpost arms. Lower everything to the floor, hands come underneath the shoulders, press back through downward facing dog. Right leg reaches straight back and up. Step the right foot forward, coming in to your high crescent lunge, facing the back of the mat this time. We're doing the same thing on the second side. So we'll start with those pendulum kicks of the left leg. So you press into the right leg and use that to drive the left leg forward. The left leg is coming straight, but you're not worried about height. So I can probably get my leg up a lot higher if I start to do weird things with my pelvis and round my back, but I don't want to do that. And you're generating the movements through that right leg. As you press into it, the left leg kicks up. Press into the right leg, the left leg swings. Coming back into that crescent lunge, pausing there, hands come in prayer in front of the heart, and we'll take that Tai Chi-like movement, moving towards left this time, and coming back. And turning towards the side of the mat, and coming back. Smoothing out the movements each time you do it. One more time, coming back to the front of the mat, or in this case, the back of the mat. And we'll windmill back towards the front, the right palm plants, stepping back into a side plank. The left arm lifts, always the option to come into a modified side plank here with the right knee down. Both hands plant and lower all the way to the floor. Goalpost the arms and lift everything up, coming into a locust pose. Release back to the floor. Press into the palms, and we'll sit the hips back to the heels. Coming into a child's pose, you can bring the elbows to the mat and allow the hands to come into prayer, just like you did at the beginning of the class. Or you can keep the palms down, the palms up, whatever feels good here. Take a couple breaths. Our third sequence will be a stream of the first two. There's a couple added bonus options in there. But now that we've done the movements, we know what they feel like in our body, and our brains know which muscles should be working and how we're going to do them most efficiently and effectively. We can find some fluidity and some smoothness to the movements. All right, as you're ready, coming back to quadruped, coming back to the front of your mat, standing up nice and tall. Inhaling, reach the arms forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Step back with the right leg, and we're coming into that tilted crescent. This time, both arms are lifting alongside the ears. Imagine that you're holding a block between your palms. And with that block, imaginary block there, turn the torso towards the left. So some bonus core work here. Then bring the right hand down, coming back into that twisted crescent. Both hands plant, step back for plank. Rock on the toes, forward and back. Keep the head in line with the rest of the spine. Come back to neutral. You can lower the knees or not, and lower all the way to the floor. Arms come alongside the body, and as you inhale, lift into locust. Exhale, lower, hands come underneath the shoulders, reverse push-up. And lower as soon as you get to the top. Take that 4 more times. Press into the palms and lower. Press the floor away and lower. 2 more, press the floor away and lower. Last time, press the floor away. Tuck the toes, come into that down dog crouch, sitting the butt back towards the heels. And then we'll still stay in somewhat of a crouched position, but shift a little bit more forward, coming more towards a normal down dog. And we'll just move side to side with that crouch. So we'll bend the knees and turn both knees and both feet towards the left as you sit the butt back to the heels, and then come back through center. Knees and feet turn towards the right, sit the butt back towards the heels, come back to center, and just take that side to side, smooth it out. This is great for targeting some stretch and some opening to the QL, the low back muscle that referred to as the angry troll in our bodies. At least in my yoga anatomy training, that's our technical term. All right, coming back to downward facing dog. We're going to step the left leg forward, coming into a standing L shape. You can come up on the fingertips, draw the chest forward through the arms. And as you start to rise to stand, you'll bring that right leg with you. Right knee comes in towards the chest, just like you did in that marching in our bridge pose at the very beginning of class. Then cross the right ankle over the left knee, and we'll sit back for a figure 4 chair pose here. You can bring, I have my right palm on my right knee, and I'm just using that to encourage the right hip to open a little bit more. You can have your hands in prayer. You can be holding onto a wall. And then as you release that, you'll step that right leg back behind you, turn towards the back of your mat, coming into a high crescent lunge. And just like we did before, we're going to do those pendulum kicks. You press into the right foot and use that to swing the left leg forward. One more. And then as you come back into that crescent lunge, hands in prayer in front of the heart, turn towards the side of your mat, and just do that wave-like motion, coming into that Tai Chi, kind of turn towards the back, and then come forward, coming back into your crescent lunge. Check in with your form, but smooth out the movement. Keep going. Last time here, turn towards that back of the mat. Windmill back to the front. The right hand plants, stepping back into side plank. Left arm lifts up towards the ceiling. And then make a fist with the left hand and just tap that fist down to the mat and then lift it up. Tap it down. You'll turn towards your mat a little bit and then lift it up. Keep going with that. Again, see if you could smooth it out here. Last time, we're coming back into that side plank with the left arm lifted. Then step the left foot forward towards the front of your mat. Bring the left fingertips forward and slightly out to the left and shift into a half moon on the left leg. As we allow our right foot to come back towards the floor, we're just going to straddle walk our way through a wide-legged forward fold, coming to face the back of the mat. The right foot is forward, the left foot is behind. Both toes are facing the back of the room now, and we're just coming into a pyramid pose here. So your front leg is coming towards straight, but it is definitely okay to have a bend in that right knee. What we're more focused on is finding length through the spine. So if I have a really straight leg, one, I could be overly pulling on the hamstrings in a way that could cause injury. So you want to check in if you're at your limit or not. But you can also be rounding in the back, right? So it's pretty easy to straighten that leg if I have my back rounded. But what good is that? Why do I want to be in a rounded position? I want to have a nice long spine. Both hips are drawing back to the back, well, in this case, the front of your mat. And then we'll walk the hands forward a little bit, step the left foot to meet the right facing the back of your mat. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold, the hands plant down. Step the left leg back. We're coming into the second side, coming back into that tilted crescent lunge. The arms are both alongside the ears. I'm pulling the belly in. I'm rooting the tailbone that it's in line with the rest of the spine. So I'm not letting my butt stick out behind me with an arched low back. I'm pulling everything in to keep that neutral pelvis. And I'm imagining I have a block between my palms, and then I'm turning my torso towards the right, firing up those obliques there. Then bring the left hand down towards the floor, and you're in that twisted crescent. Lean back into the left shoulder blade. Allow the left ear to drop towards the left shoulder. Both hands plant down, step back for plank. Little rocks forward and back on those toes. Lower the knees or not, and lower all the way. Hands come alongside the hips, lift back into that locust pose. And as you lower, immediately bring the hands underneath the shoulders, press into the palm, rise up, modified push-up. Take that a couple more times, smooth it out. Two more. Last time. Tuck the toes, come back into that down dog crouch. And then we'll take it side to side. So we'll turn both knees and the feet to one side, sit the butt back to the heels, come through center, take it to the other side. Open up the side seam of the body, help stretch out that quadratus lumborum, which can get pretty wonky from most of us walking around with an anterior tipped pelvis or just having bad posture in general. And then coming back into downward facing dog, we'll step the right leg forward, coming into standing split, standing L shape. You can come up on your fingertips. You can have a bend in that right knee. Wherever you're at, you're drawing the chest forward through the arms as if you're doing a cobra or a cow pose here. And I'm not overly worried about getting this left leg high in the air either, because all that really does is try to get me to open up my hip towards the left. And I'm trying to keep both hips pointed down towards the mat here. As you start to rise to stand, bring that left leg with you. See if you can do it without reaching for a wall or losing your balance. Left knee comes into chest, and then left ankle crosses over the right knee, and you can sit back for that figure four chair. So I have my left hand on my left knee, trying to gently open it up a little bit more. You can also do, if you're very open in your hips, is reach your hands for the floor. But you'll see I really need a block here because I'm starting to round in my back. So if I had a block and I'm up a little bit higher, then I can find a little bit more stretch, but still keep the length in my spine. So do what feels right for you. And as you lift up, we'll unwind and step that left foot back behind us, windmill to the front of the mat. I think we're coming into, let's go into high crescent lunge here. Getting ahead of myself, press into that left leg and we'll pendulum kick that right leg forward. Press into the left foot, right leg swings. Don't worry about height. This helps get the heart rate up though. Last time. And as we come back into that crescent lunge, the hands come in prayer in front of the heart. And we'll take that Tai Chi move, open up to the side of the mat, find your fluidity, and come back to the front. And whenever I come back to the front, I tend to pause for just a second, check in with my form, make sure I come back to that neutral posture, and then we can move from there. Last time, coming back towards the front, we'll windmill towards the back of the mat. The left hand plants this time. Step back with the right leg. We're in side plank here. Make a fist with the right hand, and you'll tap that right fist down towards the mat, and then lift it back up. Tap it down, and keep lifting it back up. Smooth it out. You're almost there. Last time, tap it down, lift it up, and then step that right foot forward. As you do, we're coming into half moon on the right leg. The right fingertips or hand can come to the floor. The left fingertips up to the ceiling. The left leg straight back and up. And as you come down, you'll face sideways on your mat. Walk your way through a wide-legged forward fold, coming back to the front of your mat and coming into that pyramid pose on the left leg. So again, your fingers, you can be up on your fingertips. You can even bring your hands onto your shin. Definitely keep a slight bend in that left leg. You don't want to feel, if it starts to feel painful or you're moving into a range of motion that your body isn't used to, definitely back off of that. This is not necessarily a classical yoga class, because all of our movement practices are based on principles of physical therapy and anatomy and physiology, but in classical vinyasa, hamstring injuries are very common, and they take a long time to heal. If you pull the hamstring, a lot of times you need surgery as well. So never want to get too close to that. And then you can walk the hands forward and just step both feet to the front of your mat. Forward fold here. Big breath in through the nose and out. We'll come into pigeon pose as we close off the class. So I'm going to start with my left leg forward. It really doesn't matter. So with my left leg forward and right leg straight back behind me, coming into pigeon, only coming as close to the floor as you can, with still maintaining some length in that back. If you start to feel yourself rounding, there's really no benefit in that. Come back up a little bit higher. And just breathe here. If pigeon isn't something that feels good in your body, then you can come down onto your backs and just come into a regular figure four stretch. Just try to let the waves of your breath here ride up and down the spine. As you're ready, you can press into the palms, walk the hands underneath the shoulders, and come to switch sides. And coming back down into pigeon on the opposite side. Noticing the difference between one side and the other. And taking just another breath here. And then press into the palms. And we're going to come to lie down on our backs. We'll just come into a quick Shavasana here. Coming into whatever position feels restful in your body tonight. Closing the eyes. And just taking these next couple of breaths to check in with how you feel after this practice. And notice the benefits that come when we move our bodies well. And the energy that comes with it. So physically, maybe you feel a little bit more energized than you did when you started class, whether it's early in the morning or in our case, in the evening. How does this compare to other days of the week when we don't move as much? I'm trying to keep that in mind when Netflix and our couches are calling to us. You're welcome to stay here for as long as feels good. Whenever you're ready, rolling to one side, maybe pausing in fetal position for a moment before pressing yourself up to seated. And moving on with your day. Thank you for joining. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, rest of your week. I will stop our recording.